home of March Madness, the Masters, the PGA Tour, SEC football, the NFL, and February 3rd, Super Bowl 53.
It's Divisional Round Sunday in the NFL. Playoff football in January has to feel like an annual rite of passage for New Englanders, where in just about an hour from now, the Chargers will square off against the defending AFC champion Patriots. That before a packed house of more than 66,000 fans inside frigid Gillette Stadium. Yes, it will be cold, but mostly sunny skies and light winds. Meanwhile, the Chargers' Phillip Rivers having one of the best seasons in his 15-year career. However, the veteran quarterback still chasing that elusive Super Bowl as he looks to take one step closer to it today. However, standing in his way, the winningest postseason quarterback of all time, Tom Brady has 27 playoff wins on his Hall of Fame resume. And by the way, he has never lost to Rivers.
Stand by to move right. Ready, one, take one. Stand by to bring it back. Take four.
We'll record on 40.
3, 2, 1.
And hello, everyone. I'm James Brown in Studio 43 on this playoff Sunday. And, folks, we start with a look at the divisional round headlines here on the NFL Today, powered by Ram Trucks. Today on CBS, an epic showdown as the Chargers and Patriots face off in Foxborough. A true battle for the ages as Phillip Rivers and Tom Brady will make history, becoming the oldest pair of quarterbacks to ever face each other in an NFL playoff game. In Week 11, Drew Brees and the Saints overwhelmed the Eagles 48-7. But this time around, the Eagles are bringing a little magic with them to the Superdome. And you never know what kind of tricks Nick Foles might have in store. Yesterday, two teams punched their tickets to Championship Sunday as Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs showed why they are the #1 seed, knocking off the Colts 31-13. And in L.A., Todd Gurley looked fully healed as he and the Rams ran all over the Cowboys in their 30-22 victory.
Mahomes diving for the far front pylon, touchdown! Mahomes sidearms a throw, caught by Tyreek Hill. The ball's out, the Chiefs have it!
The Kansas City Chiefs will play for the AFC title.
Gurley, 35 yards, takes it in for a touchdown. Goff gives to Anderson, he puts it in the paint. Touchdown LA, C.J. Anderson.
Los Angeles is headed to the conference championship.
So with its win over the Colts, top-seeded Kansas City will host its first ever AFC Championship game, which you'll see next Sunday right here on CBS. The Chiefs await the winner of the Chargers-Patriots game. Meanwhile, in the NFC bracket, the #2 seed LA Rams will play in their first NFC title game since 2001. They'll travel to New Orleans if the Saints beat the Eagles today, or LA will host Philly next Sunday if the Eagles pull off the upset. All right, folks, joined at the desk by my colleagues who are champing at the bit to get going here. Phil Simms, Coach Bill Cowher, Nate Burleson, and Boomer Esiason. Patrick Mahomes, whenever we call Boomer's name, we got to say Patrick Mahomes.
Yes.
And the Chiefs rolled over the Colts, Phil.
Well, you know, JB, Patrick Mahomes made his first playoff start last night. Do you think he was nervous? Absolutely not, man. He played cool and calm, and he let it go. The Indy defense played safe at first, so he threw the football underneath that zone defense. Sammy Watkins with a big play. Now, we know about all the special throws he makes. Those are great, but he was patient against the defense sitting back. He gave up no turnovers in the game, which is a big deal. And how about the snap count he used? Boy, as we watch those throws, you can't believe he's making them. But the snap count, 5 times he drew the Indy defense offside. And Boomer Esiason, I know how much you love Patrick Mahomes. He's like no other quarterback I've ever seen in the NFL.
I would agree with you, but I have to tell you, Bob Sutton and their defense did a heck of a job yesterday against the Colts offense. You know, the Colts offense couldn't stay on the field. The Colts defense couldn't get off the field. Think about this, 10 penalties, 4 deflected passes, 3 drops, 3 sacks, 1 fumble, a missed field goal and extra point attempt, and 0 for 9 on 3rd down. That's Bob Sutton's defense. That's Arrowhead defense. And for those of us who have ever played in that stadium, And when you play with the noise that they brought in there yesterday, that defense is completely different. They won that game yesterday as much as Pat Mahomes did.
No question. And Boomer, as we watched with intensity last night in Los Angeles, the Rams, behind the tandem of Todd Gurley and C.J. Anderson, rushed for a franchise postseason record, Nate. 273 yards in their win over the Cowboys. Anderson led the way with 123 yards and 2 scores on the ground. And after the game, it was a happy C.J. Anderson speaking with our own Jamie Erdahl.
CJ, so much was said about the potential run game attack in this game, but a lot of people didn't know how Todd Gurley was going to be. How did you guys execute such an excellent game plan on the ground?
I just think, the big boys play really well up front. O-linemen got, we moved their D-linemen off the point. Me and Todd picked spots, and, everybody was concerned about Todd, but Todd looked just as fast and elusive as he always looked, and I just tried to compliment behind that.
You've been with this team for less than a month. What did you learn about yourself those final weeks of the regular season to put this product on the field that you did tonight?
I think it was more what I learned, being released from 3 different teams. I think it was never giving up on myself, always trusting my ability. And then when I got the opportunity here, just came in and put the work, the 5:30s in the mornings to learn the playbook and, coming in trying to break down tape and do the things I possibly can to help. And then, getting McVay and a couple other coaches to trust me so when they play me, they can trust me out there. And that's some of the things that I took that I learned about myself during that time that I was off and then during the last 3 weeks.
You've won a Super Bowl. What does this team have that can carry them there?
We definitely got the talent, and we definitely got the fight and the grit. So obviously we need to watch this tape. We definitely made some mistakes and try to clean that up. And then whether we're here in New Orleans next week, we got another week. So let's try to put one together.
CJ, thanks.
Thank you.
Nate, well, you and I both have played for different teams. What humility that young man had. And what a great compliment he has been to Todd Gurley. Yeah. Let's make no mistake, that game last night was won in the trenches with that offensive line of the L.A. Rams, 270 yards rushing, 0 sacks on Goff, and defensively, they dominated the defensive front line. So you look at this team, then, we talk about the wildness in McVay and what a great third down call this was to seal the game at the end of the day. This was a game that was won in a physicality of going against what Dallas thought was their strength.
Yeah, that's right. And let me salute C.J. Anderson for reinventing himself. Let that be a lesson to everybody out there. Your story's not finished until you say it's finished. But back to what you're talking about, though, last night was a true representation of the duplicity within this offense. You look at week 4 versus the Vikings, they put up 456 yards passing in the air. Last night, 273 on the ground. That's a message to everybody out there that we can do it both in the air and on the ground. And on top of that 273, 195 of it in between the tackles. If you could run the ball like that in the postseason, people in L.A., go ahead and book your tickets to Atlanta.
And guys, you want to talk about an impactful player today for the Chargers? How about Joey Bosa? Missed the first half of the season. Since he's been back, 6.5 sacks the last 8 games. For his career, 23 sacks. No wonder the Chargers, along with Melvin Ingram, are such a pain in the neck of opposing offenses.
Coming up on the NFL Today, the playoffs are in full swing, which can only mean it's time for TB12 to shine.
Come on now, we ain't done. We talked about that.
And this week, the Patriots legend is ready to prove to his doubters that age is just a number. Last week, the Chargers defense was impressive in shutting down the Ravens. So Coach headed to sunny SoCal to find out how the Bolts plan on bringing the heat in frigid Foxborough. Last year, the Saints were ousted from the playoffs in shocking fashion by the Minnesota Miracle.
Are you kidding me? It's a Minneapolis Miracle!
But now, Drew Brees and company are motivated to get things right and add another ring to their legacy. All that and more when the NFL Today returns on CBS, home of Super Bowl 53. The NFL Today on CBS Sports is powered by Ram Trucks.
Hey,
Welcome to a special playoff edition of
this NFL, they say, is a young man's game. But today it's not. We got the oldest starting quarterback matchup in playoff history. Rivers and Brady.
Rivers and gravy again, you said?
No. I said Rivers and Brady.
Ah! Oh, Brady, those old guys, I like them both.
Yeah, this game is right up your alley, huh, Marv? Yeah. Them young QBs get your heart pumping like yelling clickety-clack on bingo.
This Lamar, the youngest starting quarterback ever to start a playoff game. What about the youngest quarterback to ever lose a playoff game? Why did they never talk about that? And this Baker kid, dangerous. You know what's dangerous? He's not making the playoffs, right?
And Deshaun?
Yeah.
Deshaun? He gone.
Gone. That's correct. And Mahomes, you know what? Back in my day, you would look before you throw the ball. You look, you throw. You look, you throw. Look, throw.
Now, you remember when Tommy first started?
Oh, yeah, that's back when you were dating Ida on 7.
Oh, yeah, the good old days. Yeah. And look at him now. 18 years later, he still got it.
Incredible! Brady delivers in the clutch.
And Philip Rivers, talk about prolific.
On the field?
I'm talking about on the field.
Okay, I said.
He's having one of his best seasons ever.
An amazing play. Yeah! Touchdown, Chargers.
I love it. It's old man Rivers versus Father Tom.
Yep, and before you know it, those two will be sitting right here with us.
Yeah. Hopefully in Boomer and Phil spots.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Okay. You know, when they said we got to really pay attention to this, I knew something was coming our way.
You do it. You knew they're going to take the shots.
And you know, they didn't have to pay all that money to those two guys to do that. You and I could have done that.
Easily could have done that. But I will say, two great quarterbacks. Again, I said it last week, and I'll say it again this week about Philip Rivers. It's not about validating his career. It's really like solidifying his career. He needs to have the run that Eli Manning had back in 2007.
Well, the next guy coming up, he's got a long ways to go before he gets to that point. Right now, we welcome in Tony Romo, who will be calling the Chargers-Patriots matchup. Hey, Tony, Philip Rivers went against a very challenging Ravens defense that is last week. So what challenges will the Patriots defense present to Rivers today?
Well, it'll be different, JB. I think last week with the Ravens, you were concerned about the blitz on first down, second down, third down. Bill Belichick's going to be more situational. He'll let you kind of throw the ball underneath a few times, try and take away the big play, and then stop you in the red zone or create turnovers. This team is very good at getting the ball out. They've really been playing fantastic in the secondary. It's a little underrated. J.C. Jackson, he's been playing good man coverage, and everyone knows about Gilmore. I'm anxious to see what Bill Belichick has up his sleeve today.
And speaking of that, how fascinating will the chess match be between Patriots offensive coordinator Josh McDaniels and Chargers defensive coordinator Gus Bradley?
Well, the key to the game will be everyone knows to hit Brady. Well, part of that is to confuse him just a little bit in the secondary. I'm anxious to see, in this system, they don't change it up a lot when it comes to coverages. They run 90% zone. That's not the way to beat Tom Brady. If they do that today, it'll be troublesome. But we saw last week, Gus Bradley came up with a really unique scheme, which was a little bit outside the box for them. I expect him to do something a little different today to hopefully get Brady to hold the ball a little longer, and that'll give them a chance to hit him.
Looking forward to it unfolding on the field. Hey, Tony, thanks so much. And, of course, we'll check back in with you and Jim Nantz a little later in our show. All right, folks, the Chargers are 8-1 on the road this season. That includes last week's win over Baltimore. But the Patriots, check it out, they won 15 straight at home.
You know, the Chargers have stars on their team, and we know all about the stars on defense. They also have stars on offense led by Philip Rivers and Melvin Gordon and, of course, Keenan Allen, their wide receiver. But, you know, here's the thing. This is 20 degrees today up there at Gillette. They are tough to beat in that build. I don't care what anybody says. And the things that would concern me the most if I were a Charger fan is the arm strength of Philip Rivers in this game. The one thing you don't have to worry about if you are a defensive back for the Patriots is getting that ball thrown over your head 60 yards down the field. That is not going to be the case today.
Yeah, this game is about the GOAT. It's about Tom Brady, and it's about the pocket, and not just his pocket presence, but also that pocket protection. This team, the third fewest sacks allowed, so of course they're going to focus on trying to protect him from Melvin Ingram and Joey Bosa, guys that can clearly get after the quarterback. So this is where the game is going to be decided. And then on the flip side, they're going to have to get after Philip Rivers, and they don't get after the quarterback. They're 29th in sacks. And look at this graphic right here when it comes to the quarterback quarterback comparison, we're all familiar with the wins. Tom Brady, 7 wins to Phillip Rivers, 0. And, of course, in the playoffs, Phillip Rivers, 0. Tom Brady has 2. And the age, 2 of the oldest quarterbacks in the playoffs to play this game. And it's funny because you think 37 and 41, Coach, we wouldn't be talking about guys playing at their highest level.
And they are, but I think when you look at the narrative of this weekend, what has it been about? It's been about the running game. And so I think that the 2 biggest guys in this game, to me, are Melvin Gordon and Sony Michel. When you look at Michel, this is the guy, Bill Belichick, how do you deal with a pass rush? You run the football. Sony Michel, Rex Burkhead, James White. But Sony Michel is the guy right there, and you're going to see Edelman be a part of that inside 3rd down package. And on the other side, Melvin Gordon. How special has he been getting him back along with Austin Eckler?
Yeah.
That takes the pressure back off of Phillip Rivers, particularly what they did last week. They were patient running the football. It's not about the yards. It's about the attempts.
Yeah, you know, I got to talk about Phillip Rivers. I think Boomer brought up a great point. As you're a defensive back and New England has a very good secondary, do you worry about the receivers going by you? Phillip Rivers needs time to throw the football. We know that he's not mobile. The last 4 weeks, he has been under a lot of pressure. Can they give him time today? They should. Nate, you said it. They're going against one of the worst pass rushing defenses in the NFL, the New England Patriots. Phillip Rivers has 4 really good wide receivers. Can he get the time, throw it down the field? Because to score against New England, you need big plays, Bill. You run it, but then you throw it to get those big plays. Why? Because they have a hard time scoring points against New England's defense.
Passing the ball is fan-friendly, but back to our coach's prescription, you said at this time of the year, what wins?
It's running game and defense travels. That's the 2 things right now that the LA Chargers have, which is, you know, again, why this could be a good matchup when you talk about what they want to do. 31, this is Adrian Phillips right here. And what he is a linebacker. He's a special team Pro Bowler, but he is a linebacker. And you look at him, what they do, Gus Bradley has done is brought him into the box along with Derwin James and then Brandon Mebane. What a heavy heart. Talk about a story about that young man.
Yeah.
He's playing this week. He lost his child prior to last week's game, missed last week's game. I was out there on Wednesday. You know what? He was the first guy on the practice field, so you feel for this young man and how important he is to this team.
And that's the human element of this game, too. Bill, thank you very much for bringing that up. All right, folks, and for more news and notes, including the latest on the head coaching future of the Patriots, Brian Flores, let's welcome in our NFL Today insider, Jason Lockenfor. Hello, Jason.
JB, the Patriots defensive coordinator might be coaching his final game with the team today. Flores is the heavy favorite to land the Dolphins head coaching job, with negotiations likely to begin whenever New England's season ends. Flores will become just the 2nd coach from the defensive side of the ball to be hired for these 8 openings. The Jaguars intend to trade for a new starting QB this offseason, league sources said, with Blake Bortles on his way out. Former Super Bowl winner Joe Flacco is their top option. The Ravens will cut Flacco to save cap space if they're unable to trade him. The Jags are considering Nick Foles and Ryan Tannehill as well. And the Steelers expect to trade Antonio Brown at the scouting combine, sources said. They'll seek at least a 1st-round pick for the disgruntled receiver and believe the 49ers, Seahawks, Colts, Eagles, and Packers will be among a large group of suitors. The Steelers will not consider trading him to the rival Patriots, Ravens, or Browns, I'm told. Pittsburgh is still entertaining a franchise or transition tag for Le'Veon Bell as well, in hopes of trading him too, Nate.
Yeah, and there we go. Phillip Rivers and Tom Brady, 2 of the oldest QBs to meet in the playoffs. Guys, I once heard we age not by years, but by stories. And today's game could be the greatest story ever told.
Set to go. Snap, ball down, kick up.
Saw the ball go through. I mean, I didn't see much after that. I kind of looked up at the clock and I saw, 0-2, 0-1, 0-0. At that point, you lose it at that point. I don't know how to feel. I mean, how do you feel? I mean, you work so hard to get here and then you do it, and it's just, I don't know, man. There's a lot of things going through my mind. I'm just lucky, I think, to have the opportunity to be on 3 Super Bowl winning teams, to be 3-0 in Super Bowls, and we're all going to go celebrate and have a hell of a summer.
Incredible to experience this feeling once, and I've been fortunate to play on 4 really great teams. They're all sweet, so they're all different. We're all going to remember this for the rest of our life.
Indeed, Tom, terrific, hoping to add another chapter to his Super Bowl scrapbook of memories. As a matter of fact, as he gets set to start on another run to the Lombardi Trophy, his postseason accomplishments are pretty remarkable, to say the least.
They sure are, guys. And when you take a look at some of these numbers that represent what he has accomplished, it is eye-opening. It's startling. And I don't even want to go over all the numbers. You can see them right there. But he is 41 years of age, and he's getting ready to start his 38th playoff game. Essentially, that's 2.5 seasons of extra games he has played for 10 straight years since he turned 32. He has not missed the playoffs. And by the way, they were undefeated at home this year, 8-0, averaging 35 points. This guy is leaving quite the legacy.
Yeah, listening to him in those clips, you know, it's almost like a cub turned into a lion. And that's what it was like when I faced him. I remember looking across the field, and I could see just fire and desire in his eyes that I didn't see in every other quarterback. You know, we live in a day and age where players will get caught up in the money. They'll get caught up in immediate success, even breaking a few records or making it to a championship game, and they become complacent. Tom Brady has done that 5 times over. He's hit the mountaintop, broke every record, but yet and still, every time he steps on the field, he's hungrier than ever. And that's what I admire the most. When I used to look across that sideline and look at him, I would look inside his helmet, and I didn't see a guy that was complacent. I saw a guy that was hungry and passionate and wanted more and more and more, and there's a reason why he's still playing at a high level.
It's a sense of purpose, you know, just like you talked about. He's singular purpose-minded right now. When you talk about a guy who's so kind of connected with this offense, runs this offense, and loves this time of year. I've lost championship games to this team, and synonymous with him is the coach, Bill Belichick. Yeah. Talk about another guy who's focused, who's creative. Look at these two guys have done together under Belichick. 19-3 record home playoff games, 8 straight home playoff wins, 8-0 home record. And you look at these guys, that was this year. But Bill Belichick, you know, this time of year, and I think Tony talked about it, the chess match, we all talk about it, he's creative. He's flexible. Yep. He's going to find a matchup that gives him a chance. He loves these single elimination games. He thrives on them. I've been involved in going against him. It is the ultimate chess match with going against Bill Belichick because you don't know what he's going to give you because he can go against the grain. He studies himself as much as anybody, Phil, and you know going against him and studying him and watching him over the years when you did the games in the booth.
Oh, well, yeah, Bill Belichick definitely likes to go against the grain, that's for sure. And I'm going to talk to Boomer here. After seeing all Brady's accomplishments, it's kind of embarrassing as the next quarterback. Like, wow, did I underachieve? But, you know, it's not by surprise. He didn't catch the coaches in New England by surprise. When Tom Brady went up there his rookie year, they immediately saw his talent right away. And then I'll never forget, Charlie Weiss was the offensive coordinator, and he says to me after practice one day, Drew Bledsoe was the starting quarterback. He goes, hey, this Brady, his arm is just as good as Drew Bledsoe's. So Bill Belichick watched him all year long, loved Brady's personality as a quarterback, how he communicated with his teammates, how he interacted. He saw that, he loved it. And after practice, his rookie year, he would take the backups, the ball boys, low-level coaches, and they would go out and run a practice, and Tom Brady was in control of it, telling everybody what to do. So they groomed him. He takes coaching very well, as we all know. He takes criticism. And Bill Cowers, I say to you, when your quarterback can take criticism, how good is that for the rest of the team when he can do that?
The best bit of leadership that you can show right there, when you can sit there in front of the team and be held to the same standard that everybody else does. And that's what Bill does, and that's why he's the leader he is.
That's unique with a quarterback, because a lot of quarterbacks cannot take the criticism in front of the team.
No such thing as complacency in either of their mindsets. Hey, folks, on a sad note, former Dolphins offensive lineman Bob Kuechenberg passed away yesterday. Kuechenberg was a 6-time Pro Bowler in his 14 seasons and was a member of 2 Super Bowl winning teams in Miami, including the perfect 1972 squad. We send our thoughts and prayers to his family and friends. Bob Kuechenberg was 71. Phillip Rivers getting set for his matchup against a formidable Patriots secondary, but keep in mind Rivers has not thrown a pick in his last 3 postseason starts as he aims for another mistake-free game today. And for more on this highly anticipated matchup, let's head back out to Foxborough to join our guys Jim Nance and Tony Romo. Hello, Jim.
Hello there, my friend. Thank you, JB. Let's start with Tom Brady, the Patriots. 9 straight years, a first-round bye. And I think when you're 41, obviously, you appreciate it a whole lot more when you get that extra week off going into the postseason.
Yeah, at his age, he definitely does. When you get to where he's at and played in so many games, that week just allows you to get your body right and get ready mentally for this game. He's ready. He was excited this week. I know he loves this time of year. I think everyone in the world does. But I think it's more important for Gronk that week off, Jim. I really believe Gronk is going to run better. He looked better running at practice when we were watching, and I really feel like that's the key in this game, is if Gronk is like young Gronk, it's a really tough matchup for anyone.
And of course, a lot of people tell you that James White can be the X factor, too, coming out of the backfield. He's a pass-catching machine.
Well, and in this game, he should be, because they gave up a lot of yards last year when these two teams played. The system for the Chargers, it's all zone. You can throw to running backs a lot against them.
All right, Phillip Rivers, this team thrives on playing in hostile environments. They won last week at Baltimore. And yes, they went back to California, got a couple of days off Monday and Tuesday, and then Wednesday they started game planning for this one. What do you expect?
Well, we know where he's at in his career. He's played outstanding this season, some of the best football he's ever played. He's got a great team around him. He has an opportunity today to go into Foxborough and beat Tom Brady for the first time. His team is good enough to do it.
What do you make of Hunter Henry being active today? Has not played in a game all year after ripping his ACL back in May.
Well, this is a big-time decision here. How much do you play him? He is a weapon, but your first game back, and you're going to play in this weather, in this kind of game. I think early in the game, you use him subtly here and there in the run game, and then you ease him in, but he could be a difference maker. We got to watch that.
And speaking of possible difference makers, well, these two right here, they could wreck the game if you're a Patriot fan.
It's the number one thing. We talked about it all week. These two guys need to play some of their best football. Otherwise, the Chargers can't win this game on the road. If they do play like they did last week, especially Ingram, this Chargers team could come in here and make everyone have a surprise moment and knock the Patriots out.
It is going to be a tremendous afternoon of football here in Foxborough. JB, that's the latest from here. Let's go back to the studio in New York.
Hey, Jim and Tony, thanks so much for setting the stage there with some nice nuggets. Meanwhile, Coach had a chance to visit with some of those Chargers' top defensive players this week. Last Sunday, they shut down Baltimore's top rushing attack with a unique defensive strategy, and today they'll face a totally different challenge, taking on Tom Brady and the Patriots.
Yeah, yes, they will, JB. And these guys are raring to go. And they let me know that playing on the road only adds to their level of confidence.
Drop for a loss. Derwin James. Bosa coming after him, and Bosa gets to him. Ingram was shot out of a cannon. It is a sack party for the Chargers. Los Angeles slams the door shut in Baltimore.
Just going back about the Baltimore Ravens, was it easier playing them second time?
Yeah, for sure. And it's still fresh. I wouldn't say easier, but there's definitely more stuff you could go off of.
Same plays, same blocking schemes. I mean, just trying to get him the ball on the edge.
So we had a really good idea when they lined up what 2 or 3 plays they were probably going to run out of that formation.
It's going to be fascinating to see the game plan that Gus Bradley came up with, because they're going to play a lot of DBs in this game.
Coach Bradley came in. You're going against a team, #1 rushing offense, and now we're going to put 7 DBs out there? Really? And how'd you guys take that?
When you first hear it at first, you was like, hold on. We had doubts at first, but we all just bought in, and we trust he knew what he was doing.
Bosa burying Keenum. Mahomes will get tossed down. Melvin Ingram gets to the quarterback.
It kills opposing offenses to have 2 players like that that's so dynamic but so different.
We're going to do that all day. Stay in their head.
We're always just confusing tackles, and when we're switching left and right, it's just playing mind games with these guys.
He more for technician, I go more for athletic ability. So it's just like, pick your poison.
Derwin James is everywhere.
This young man is some football player.
What an impressive talent.
You go through the draft this year, and this young kid comes in named Derwin James. Well, okay, Derwin James is defensive back. But all of a sudden, you find yourself at the line of scrimmage looking over, and he's standing right next to you. Is Derwin James a safety, or is Derwin James a linebacker?
Derwin's whatever position he wants to be.
Facts. I think he's more of a football player.
Yeah.
What has he brought to this defense?
I see it every week. Playmaking ability. You can't teach that.
Picked off by Derwin James. The rookie continues to impress.
I go over the mindset every game that no matter how young I am, I'm coming to make plays.
Hey, so happy.
You know, whatever role the coaches ask me to play, you know, I want to go out there and play it to my best ability. I know it's going to be scary once we really come together and once we really put it on the field. And, I mean, it's happening on Sundays.
The last 12 road games, you're 10-2. You get on a plane and you don't lose.
Pull up on anybody and get it done. We bout whatever, ASAP.
What is ASAP?
Any squad, any play. We pulling up and we want pressure.
All pressure, big pressure.
No matter where you're at, no matter what city you're in, whether it's home or away.
No matter rainy, snowy, it don't matter. We bout it.
The last thing I'll ask you, we'll beat the New England Patriots if we do what?
If we come out and play Chargers football for 4 quarters, I'll hit you in the mouth, line up, and tell you we're going to come and do it again.
Hey, great job, Coach, interviewing those guys. I think all 3 of them are going to be a big part of this game today.
You know, Phil, when you go over there, you know, you look at those 3 guys. The leader of those 3 is Derwin James. This rookie has come in and given them a confidence and a presence on the field. He plays so many different positions. And Anthony Lynn told me at one point they were down at halftime, and he went up to me and said, Coach, I got this. And so he was talking to this whole team. That's the kind of presence he has with that football team and that defense. And they are not afraid to go on the road against anybody. Matter of fact, last time they went to New England, they sacked Tom Brady 3 times. What do you think the answer is going to be from New England's perspective and trying to protect Tom Brady?
Well, I'll ask you this. What's the #1 thing the New England Patriots try to do every single week?
Protect
Tom Brady. If there's any questions about protecting Tom Brady, they're going to do extra things to give him more time. Here we got James White and Rob Gronkowski. They're going to chip on the outside. Why? Because they're worried about the pass rush. Look at the pocket, how big it is. It gives Tom Brady extra time, and he finds Edelman over the middle for a big gain. Now, on the other side, Phillip Rivers, he is... You know, he's had a tough time getting time to throw this year.
Well, Phillip Rivers has been under siege these last 4 weeks. You're talking about the pressure that the New England can put on him. But you look at New England, their weakness has been their inability to rush the quarterback. And if you give Phillip Rivers time, he can make plays.
Well, he can. He's been under pressure a lot the last 4 weeks. In New England, we know they don't have a great pass rush. Here's what we saw last year. This is Keenan Allen in the slot. Free release, gets to the safety, makes Devin McCourty come up inside, and then it leaves Travis Benjamin wide open. And look at the space that Phillip Rivers has around him so he can throw the football down the field and make those big plays.
Well, you sit there and Bill Belichick, he's watching that same thing from last year. He says, okay, if I can't get pressure and I can't play zone, what is going to, you think, be his answer to that dilemma?
Well, there's a lot of things he does. I know last year he confused Phillip Rivers a couple times, and here's one play that I don't think any quarterback could figure out. 3 receivers to the right, tight end to the left. Watch how they pass everybody off as they go down the field. The safety gets the deep crosser. There's 2 people taking the guy underneath. Coverage on the outside, very confusing. Phillip Rivers doesn't know where to go with the football. Then he almost turns it over going to the outside. As I watch that and see that defense, I'm pretty sure in today's game, the New England Patriots defensive backs, they're very good. They're going to play a lot of man-to-man and make Phillip Rivers make tight throws.
Which is why Melvin Gordon better be a part of that offense. And on the other side, you look at Tom Brady. If I'm Gus Bradley, I think the New England Patriots go back to old school football. They go back to running the football with Sony Michel. Play action on first down. If it's not there, you know what? You run the ball. You get yourself in 3rd and short to medium because that negates any kind of pass rush. I think we see old school football right here when you're talking about Bill Belichick and Tom Brady.
You mean Bill Cowher football. That's what
well, to talk about more impact players in this game, let's go over to Boomer and Nate.
Thanks, Coach. It's time now for the impactful performance presented by Pepsi. Boomer, who's your pick to have an impactful performance today?
How can it not be Derwin James? And by the way, Coach, who does he remind you of?
Troy Polamalu.
That's exactly right. Troy Polamalu was the 16th overall pick. Derwin James was the 17th overall pick. He can cover Gronkowski. He can make plays. And we just saw he's really a positionless player. He's also already made his first All-Pro team as a rookie. They have got the full and total package in Derwin James for the Chargers.
My impactful performer is James White. What he can do in the passing game is incredible. 87 catches this year. That's a franchise record. 7 TDs in the receiving game. That right there led all running backs this season, and you're asking why am I bringing it up? Because the Chargers gave up almost 1,000 yards to running backs in the air. He can do it all, in between the tackles, catching out of the backfield, matching him up with linebackers and safeties, and also in the screen game. Keep your eyes on Mr. White and the Reservoir Dogs. This guy right here can change the game. I'm telling you right now, this guy's an absolute monster, Boom.
I got you, man, but how about you got Rob Gronkowski? That's the other one.
You're right about that. Here's Tom Brady and his guys right there. Those are his bodyguards, and if you try to get the Tom, oh, he's going to bounce you right out of the club. And speaking of club, it's going to be a party, baby. A reminder, coming up at the top of the hour, Phillip Rivers leaves the upset-minded Chargers into Foxborough to take on Tom Brady and his crew in the AFC Divisional Round Showdown. Chargers, Patriots for a spot in the AFC title game. Coming up here on CBS.
It's championship time on CBS with Super Bowl 53. Impossible! The NCAA Basketball Championship.
Madness is real!
The Masters.
Captain America.
And now in May, the PGA.
He's made it again!
It's championship time on CBS.
The NFL Today is sponsored by State Farm, here to help life go right. Verizon, chosen by experts, chosen by you. And by the Ram 1500, Motor Trend's 2019 Truck of the Year.
There's no question that the Saints are making a positive impact in their community. Cam Jordan hosted a camp for the Saints Kids Club at the Saints indoor practice field. That was a part of their fun-filled day of football activities and games for the kids. And that takes us inside the pregame HQ delivered by Domino's.
10 seconds to go. 24-23 Saints. Case on a deep drop. Steps up in the pocket. He'll fire to the right side. Caught by Diggs. Stay up. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. 30. No. 10. Touchdown. Are you kidding me?
Oh, that breaks my heart.
Obviously, a disappointing game to lose in the fashion we did.
It's a Minneapolis Miracle.
Some of the losses, are tougher to get over.
This is tough. I think we're all still a bit shell-shocked as to what happened there at the end. This one is going to sting for a while, but you have to learn from it and put it aside, and hopefully it'll make you stronger.
Well, outside of the Big Easy, that will be remembered as one of the greatest finishes in playoff history. But for more on the NFC Divisional Round matchup, let's head out live to New Orleans to our reporter, Evan Washburn. Hey, Evan, the Saints have had a year to kind of get over that stunning loss, and they are super motivated to put all that behind them today.
Yeah, I see what you did there was super well done, JB. Yeah, this week they tried to avoid any discussion about a miraculous play, choosing rather to focus on the present, which means the postseason back here in the Superdome, where historically, with Drew Brees under center, they've been very comfortable. A perfect 5-0. Impressive numbers that had teammates and coaches this week saying that Drew in these moments gives us all confidence. Now, that unblemished record, though, JB, will be tested by an Eagles team that comes in red hot and seeking a bit of revenge for what happened on this field just 8 weeks ago, an embarrassing 48-7 loss that was cemented by this play early in the fourth quarter. Fourth down, the Saints already up 31, a touchdown pass to Alvin Kamara. Eagles players were frustrated with their play, but also angry at the Saints for feeling like they ran up the score. Well, they responded, and they've won 6 out of their last 7. It was a rallying point for this Eagles team, and they come back here with a new quarterback and a defense that's now healthy, prepared, and playing super well.
Hey, Evan, being responsive to my colleagues here, Phil is champing at the bit to say something to me.
Well, yeah, no, I just want to know if he went out on Bourbon Street last night, Evan. I wondered that. Did you go out on Bourbon Street last night?
No Bourbon Street. We kept it in check.
Yeah, you know why he didn't go on Bourbon Street? Because he's afraid somebody messed that hair up.
Evan, thank you so very much for that patience there with my guy, Phil. All right, folks, as Evan mentioned, Philly was trounced by the Saints back in Week 11, but a different Eagles squad that comes rolling into NOLA at this time.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a different game, I think. And one of the reasons why the Philadelphia Eagles are healthy, Nick Foles is playing quarterback. Last week against the Bears, like he's been ever since he's come in for Carson Wentz. He's playing very well. His timing is good. His offensive line is healthy, and so they're giving him protections. Darren Sproles is healthy. That helps, but he gets rid of the football on time. Good decision maker. And what I like about him, too, good decision maker, but he's aggressive throwing the football down the field. That's where the defense lets him.
I mean, this run by them from the 6th seed reminds us of the run we had in 2005. But, you talk about the New Orleans Saints, it's about that running game. You're talking about Kamara and Ingram. Between them, they got 20 rushing touchdowns. They sit there and have 25 touchdowns total. Kamara is a threat out of the backfield. In their offensive line, with that week off, it's healthy, and they are good, Nate.
Yeah, you're right about that. And listen, as much as we're going to praise these young quarterbacks in the league right now, it's still the OGs running this game, and Drew Brees is one of the OGs still doing it at a high level, and it's what he does with his arm and the guys that are catching for him. I mean, Kamara is fantastic coming out of the backfield. He's going to be a very impressive part of this game. And then you look at different individuals that are complementary pieces, and of course, Mike Thomas, the true #1. But I want to have you keep your eyes on Ted Ginn, the speedster that can take the top off any coverage.
Coach, OG, old guards.
Old guard.
Yes. All right, so here's the thing. You know, Drew Brees is one of those old guards. He's had 2 of his best games this year against the Rams and the Eagles. This game will be a lot closer because I think the Eagles are going to be highly motivated. But I think there was a lesson learned by the Saints last year when they lost to Minnesota. They don't want to lose it again, and that's why Sean Payton showed them all the Lombardi Trophy and the $250,000 that they can win.
Oh, man.
So it's a yes-no. Who wins, Eagles or Saints, Phil?
Well, no, yes.
Or yes-no.
Yeah, okay, I'll
Yes,
figure it out. I
Eagles.
figured it out. Saints. I'm taking the Saints at home today.
I'm going to take the Saints. Look for Taysom Hill to be maybe a little bit of an X factor. They like to do something with him. Saints.
Logic tell me the Saints. They're a better team on paper. X's and O's. It's the Saints. But I'm picking the Eagles. I still believe in Magic, and I believe in Nick Foles.
JB, Coach Parcells said we got to keep it simple for him. So just try to keep it simple for him. I'm going with the Saints.
No, but he was right.
I had to straighten him out.
Yeah, he sure did. It's not a yes-no answer. It's the team. Hey, the coaching carousel is slowing down after a slew of openings were filled this past week, excluding Vic Fangio. It's been mostly offensive-minded coaches taking over. So which hire stands out to you the most?
You know, I'm happy for all of these guys. Good for them, especially the first-timers like Cliff Kingsbury. I know there's a lot of controversy surrounding him because he's never done this before at this level. He better make sure that he has his pass protections right for Josh Rosen. The other one for me also is Adam Gase here in New York. I think the Jets need a personality at the top of their franchise. They finally have it, and if they add Greg Williams as defensive coordinator, they will have the edge that they have not had the last 4 years.
I love what the Browns are doing and hiring Freddie Kitchens. Some say when you hire from within an interim head coach, it's like falling in love with the rebound after breaking up with your girlfriend. But, you know, I feel like with what they did and what they were able to do with the inconsistency with the coaches, Baker Mayfield not being the starter and still going out there and throwing for 27 touchdowns, finally giving this young quarterback some consistency. Obviously, their connection was special, and now they can continue that.
Yeah, they'll keep it going. You know, the guy I want to talk about is Matt LaFleur going to Green Bay. I know this. When he goes up to Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers, he's not going to run the same offense he ran down in Tennessee this past year with Marcus Mariota. What they're going to do, they're going to run what we see in San Francisco and Los Angeles with the Rams, that type of offense. Play action. Aaron Rodgers under center. More deception. That's going to be exciting. Help out their defense, help out their offensive line. I think it was a good hire.
Everybody's looking for next Sean McVay. But you know what? The Denver Broncos said, you know what? Let me hire a 60-year-old first-time head coach. That'd be Vic Fangio. Vic Fangio, he was a coordinator in Carolina back in 1995 with Don Capers. I know him very well. He will bring structure and discipline, and he'll bring kind of a rigorous side to that football team. I know John Elway talked about he wanted greatness on one side of the ball. Right. He got a great coordinator right now in Vic Fangio, and I'll tell you what, look out for that team next year. He had some good offensive coordinator with him. I like where he's at.
Hey, folks, Anthony Lynn, another former offensive coordinator turned head coach, now in his second full season at the helm for the Chargers. He is one of the top candidates for NFL Head Coach of the Year.
Today on CBS Sports is powered by Ram Trucks.
Hey, folks, we're counting down to kickoff in Foxborough, where just a few moments from now, the Chargers and the defending AFC champion Patriots will face off in a divisional round playoff matchup. And now, time to pick a winner. Phil got me straight. It's not a yes or no answer. Chargers or Patriots?
Okay, I'm taking the New England Patriots home. They're tough to beat, so I'm going with them.
I'm going to take the L.A. Chargers. I love their motto, ASAP, any squad, any place. I think they love being a road warrior right now, and I think I was a big confident builder last week when they went into Baltimore and won.
I feel like this comes down to protecting the quarterbacks. They will protect Tom Brady, and they're going to get after Phillip Rivers. I have the Patriots.
Well, it's 20 degrees. It's Gillette Stadium. It's Tom Brady. It's Bill Belichick. And Rivers has never beaten those two together. I'm going with the Patriots. I'm going to stick with it, and I'm telling you, they'll come up with something defensively, like a rope-a-dope scenario that could end up and result in a few interceptions.
What they need to do to really give, there's many things that give them a great chance to win. Of course, offense, we need Phillip Rivers, get the ball down the field. But can the defensive backs of the Los Angeles Chargers cover well enough to make Tom Brady hold the ball, like we heard Tony Romo say, a little bit longer. And if that happens, then they have a chance to sack. Melvin Ingram, Joey Bosa can really be an impact on this game.
I think a big factor in this game, too, is going to be interesting. The Chargers signed Nick Rose to handle kickoff duties. They were afraid of Cordero Patterson because Michael Badgley has not been able to kick the ball deep enough and for touchbacks. So they actually signed a kicker just for this game to be able to make sure that Cordero Patterson does not become a factor in a kickoff return game.
I know we are going to continue to praise these guys, being at their age, playing at a high level. But we have to keep in mind, there are two older quarterbacks that played at a great level, and they've been throwing the ball a ton. One of these guys could fatigue, and if I have to pick one, I feel like Phillip Rivers, his arm might not hold up in this weather for 4 quarters. Now, by rope-a-dope, what do you mean, Boone?
All right, well, here's the deal. When you play against Bill Belichick defense, he'll give you 10, 12, 14-play drives. Doesn't matter. It goes all the way back to the great Ty Law, Mike Vrabel. You bring all these smart defensive players in there. Patrick Chung is one of those smart defensive players. Devin McCourty's one of those players. You know, these players are so interchangeable with the way that they play defense. And I thought that Phil, I got to give you a credit here, because on your eye vision, when you showed how Phillip Rivers got a little bit crossed up with the way that they were playing their coverages, that's exactly what they do in this building. I'm just telling you, things happen in this building that are unexplainable, and that's why I'm staying with the Patriots.
Let me take it back to the coaching standpoint. I asked Tony about the chess match, and I'm going to start at the head coaching level. I know players get engaged that way. Talk about the edge that Bill Belichick tries to get playing that mind game.
And he does try to play the mind game, which we talked about and Phil said. He'll go against any of his tendencies. But the last thing I'll say is, for Ken Wisenhunt, what they did last week with Phillip Rivers, he was patient. He ran the ball early. It's like exchanging jabs. Until you get a feel for what he's going to do against you, don't subject yourself to negative plays. Run the ball with Melvin Gordon. Keep it simple early, and then get a feel for the game. Let yourself ease into the game.
Yeah, you know, ease it into the game. Listen, Nate was talking about Tom Brady. The two things I admire about him, he has not really lost much arm strength over the years. His footwork is still great in the pocket. And, you know, starting the game off the right way, Josh McDaniels is the best. They throw a lot of screens, throw the backs. That gives you confidence, even for a veteran quarterback.
I want to see Rob Gronkowski and how healthy he is. And if they go on to lose this game, is this his last game as a Patriot?
Wow. Kickoff is just moments away. That is AFC Divisional Round Showdown. Chargers and the Patriots coming up next.